So there are a couple of explanations that scientists have developed to explain why metamorphosis evolved. And they mostly center around where tadpoles live. Most tadpoles live in temporary habitat. In North America, most of them live in ephemeral ponds, which are ponds that are going to fill up with water in the spring and dry up by late summer or fall. So you can see where that would be a problem if you had gills and no legs. So metamorphosis is obviously a solution to that problem. You hop away when the pond dries up. But then you also, it sort of begs the question, well, why bother living in this habitat that's temporary if it requires something so drastic as metamorphosis to survive? And the answer all comes down to food, eating and not being eaten. So these ponds are warm and shallow and they're really nutrient rich. They're filled with algae and plants and little animals eating those plants. And it's a great place to grow really fast and do really well. They also are a great place to escape fish predators, so to avoid being eaten yourself. Another reason that we think metamorphosis evolved has to do with reproduction and specifically inbreeding. So inbreeding occurs if you mate with somebody who's closely related to you. Often the offspring will have problems, and that's because we have 2 copies of every gene, and if one of those copies is defective somehow, it's usually okay because you've got another copy. That's all right. If you have 2 bad copies, that's where problems occur. So my set of genes is going to be fairly similar to my sibling's set of genes because we both got those genes from the same 2 parents. If I happen to have 1 bad copy of a gene, it's likely my sibling might have that same bad copy, and our offspring might likely have 2 bad copies. So it's best to mate with animals that are not closely related to you, and plants and animals have evolved a lot of strategies for spreading around and mixing and matching their genes. And so metamorphosis is one of those strategies. And you're going to be closely related to all the other frogs in your same pond, but if you can hop away and go to another pond, you can mix and match your genes more. So that's what I have to say about metamorphosis. It's not really so crazy after all. It actually makes a lot of evolutionary sense.